Memphis didn't rebuild this offseason, they detonated. This wasn't a careful roster reset, this was open heart surgery, no anesthesia, no safety net, no turning back. Ja Morant, the franchise cornerstone, sidelined by injuries. Jaren Jackson Jr., the former Defensive Player of the Year, traded away. John Conchar and Vince Williams Jr., the gritty culture guys who carried the identity, gone. The grit and grind 2.0 era isn't fading anymore. It's officially dead. So what did Memphis get back? Taylor Hendricks and a collection of young assets. Rookies like Cedric Coward and Javon Small got thrown straight into the fire. No ramp up, no easing in, just figure it out. And then the injury wave hit anyway. How thin was this roster? Thin enough that Memphis had to sign Taj Gibson, 40 years old, emergency depth. That one move tells you everything about the chaos underneath the surface. But here's what separates a teardown from a rebuild. One move, Ty Jerome. He only played 15 games, injuries stole the rest. But his basketball IQ, his ability to run a half-court system, to make the right read every single time. That's the blueprint. That's what head coach Iisalo is actually building toward. A system where Jerome runs the second unit, and a healthy Morant finally operates within structure. The painful contracts are off the books. The third overall pick is locked in, and Memphis now holds 12 first-round selections through 2032. Every bit of this pain, it was the price of the plan. Let me walk you through how to read what's on screen. The top rows show NBA.com's official league rankings across every major category. The bottom rows pull from NBASDB, ranking the combined ability scores of each team's top 10 players. And the charts in the middle? That's the bottom row data visualized. Two charts, last season and this season. Red is Memphis. Blue is league average. Now let's get into it. The offensive collapse is right there in the numbers. Offensive rating, 6th last year, all the way down to 23rd. Effective field goal percentage fell from 10th to 23rd. Plus-minus dropped from 6th down to 24th. It's a free fall. The ability rankings tell the same story. Starting 5 evaluations slid from 19th to 27th. The top 10 combined score fell from 8th all the way to 25th. Why? Because the core that ran last year's offense simply doesn't exist anymore. Morant, Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. were the engine. 2 of the 3 were traded. And Morant, the one they kept, played just 20 games. 20. That's not a down year, that's an absence. When your stars disappear, the offense doesn't slow down. It collapses. The defensive numbers are even harder to look at. Defensive rating dropped from 11th down to 27th. The ability rankings for defense fell from 7th to 22nd. Steal ability, 7th to 20th. Block ability, 14th to 20th. Official steal totals held at 10th, barely. But opponent paint points? From 12th all the way down to 26th. That's what losing Jaren Jackson Jr. does to a defense. He wasn't just a piece, he was the entire interior shield. And the rebounding? That's where it gets devastating. Offensive rebounding rate fell from 3rd down to 15th. Defensive rebounding rate from 20th all the way to 30th. Dead last. The ability score dropped from 18th to 28th. Opponent second chance points went from 22nd to 30th. Also last. No depth, no answers. No paint protection at all. The moment Zach Edey went down with his ankle surgery, the paint was gone, fully unprotected. But here's the one number that doesn't fit, the one signal buried inside all this wreckage. Assist rate, up from 14th to 6th. Passing ability in the rankings improved from 21st to 15th. Turnover rate tightened from 23rd to 20th. Memphis slowed the pace, from 1st in the league last year down to 8th. They committed to half-court basketball, and it showed. Opponent fast break points improved from 21st to 14th. That's Iisalo's fingerprints. Discipline, structure, intentional pace. But here's the problem. Individual scoring ability fell from 10th down to 18th. You can move the ball beautifully all night long. If there's nobody to pull the trigger, it doesn't matter. 3-point shooting ability held from 15th to 17th. 3-point stats stayed from 11th to 12th. The system preserved those numbers. But without interior force, without finishers, the whole thing stalled. Final result, 13th in the Western Conference. The blueprint is there, the personnel isn't, not yet. This chart is built from NBA.com's play type data. Light green shows where Memphis finished last season. Dark green is where they ended up this year. Watch how those markers move, because that journey tells the whole story. 2 numbers matter most here. Possessions, how often Memphis ran each play type, and PPP, points per possession, the pure scoring efficiency of each one. How many points did they actually generate per trip? Track the light green to dark green shift, and you're watching an organization try to replace lost talent with system. It doesn't always work. The starkest collapse? Transition and isolation. Memphis ran more fast breaks than anyone in the league last season. First in frequency, this year they're still 6th, but their points per possession in transition fell from 12th all the way to 29th. They're still running, they're just not scoring. Isolation is even more telling. Usage dropped from 8th in the league down to 28th. Efficiency fell to 20th. Iisalo made a deliberate choice. Suppress Morant's one-on-one instincts, install the system. The result? An offense with no teeth in transition and no escape valve in isolation. So what replaced it? Pick and roll everywhere. Last year, Memphis ran pick and roll handler possessions at a rate of 30th in the league, dead last. This season, 8th. Roll man frequency jumped to 9th. Iisalo's system is real, you can see it in the data. But here's the trap hidden inside those numbers. Roll man efficiency sits at 14th. Sounds fine, but who was driving that number? Zach Edey, before the ankle surgery ended his season after 11 games, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who's now in another city. Those figures are a ghost, a legacy stat from players who aren't on this roster anymore. Whether that efficiency holds next year without them, that's the real question. The interior collapse ripples outward from there. Post-up efficiency, first in the league last year. This year, 22nd. Put-back efficiency cratered to 27th. With no interior force, Memphis had nowhere to go but outside. Spot-up frequency stayed second. High volume, lots of catch-and-shoot attempts. But the efficiency? 22nd. The shots are there, they just aren't falling at a rate that moves the needle. Off-screen efficiency jumped to 3rd. But frequency sits at 21st. That's a small sample built almost entirely on specific shooters. Ty Jerome in limited games. Remove him, and that number evaporates. You can run the perfect system. You can move the ball, hit the right spots, execute every action. But if there's no closer, no one to end possessions, the efficiency won't follow. That's the ceiling of system without talent, and this chart proves it. Now we're going individual. Pink is where each player landed last season. Red is where they are right now. Blue is league average. Down at the bottom, a pink background means that stat ranks inside the league's top 50. Yellow means top 10, elite territory. 2 thresholds to keep in mind. 780 points is the baseline for a reliable starter. 720 is the benchmark for a functional bench piece. Let's start with the most distorted line on the entire chart. Ja Morant. His overall score has dropped below the starter threshold, deep into bench player range. 20 games played. The small sample pulls the number down, and that's real. But the shape of the line is the story. Scoring once his entire identity has shrunk below league average. And then there's assist rate, spiking into the top 10. Elite territory. That's not an accident. That's a role change forced by the system. Iisalo didn't want the isolation monster. He wanted a pass-first operator and a half-court structure. Morant complied, or was made to. Either way, the data reflects it. But don't read this as decline. Read it as transition. A healthy Morant who's internalized this playmaking discipline, running structure, not just instinct. That's the version the front office is building around. Pair that with a clean salary cap and 12 first-round picks through 2032, and the real Memphis counterpunch hasn't even started yet. Now, who held this backcourt together while Morant was out? Walter Clayton Jr., 69 games, more than anyone else on this roster. His overall score sits below the 720 bench threshold. The scoring line is under league average. His outside shot isn't there yet. But look at the assist section, pushing into the top 50. Clayton ran Iisalo's pass-first system, night after night in a broken backcourt. That line isn't pretty, but it's honest. Javon Small tells a different story. Limited minutes, but look at what he did with them. 3-point shooting and assists, both cracking the top 50 simultaneously. Steals well above average. He didn't just survive the system, he fit it, and still produced individually. On a roster this thin, that combination is rare. And then there's Ty Jerome, 15 games. That's all injuries allowed. 15 games, and both offensive efficiency and shooting are already in the top 50. That line is high, wider than almost anyone else in this backcourt. What does that mean for next season? It means Jerome isn't a project. He's the last piece of the new system. The guy who runs the second unit, or plays alongside a healthy Morant and doubles the offensive ceiling overnight. The Aces line shrinks. The rookies grind through the system. The veteran newcomer points toward the future. That's Memphis's backcourt right now. Chaotic, uneven, and quietly building towards something. The shooting guard rotation this season tells you exactly what Memphis is becoming. They walked away from pure shooting. They went all in on playmaking. And one rookie defined that shift completely. Cam Spencer. Overall score clear 720. A functional bench piece in a backcourt that desperately needed one. But the shape of his line is what demands attention. Three-point shooting ability? Deep into the top 50, pushing toward elite, top 10 territory. And his assist ability? It breaks through the top 10 threshold entirely. He's not just a shooter who can pass, he's a genuine playmaker who can also shoot. That combination, at rookie wages, is exactly what Iisalo's system needs to function. Spencer isn't a complementary piece. He's the connective tissue holding the new offense together. Now look at Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The line tells a hard story, shrinking from last year across the board. Three-point shooting. His entire professional identity has fallen below league average. Every offensive indicator has pulled inward. Why? In February, he underwent surgery on his right hand, his shooting hand. Season over. That's not decline. That's injury. But the impact on the rotation was real, regardless. Memphis closed the book on the Luke Kennard experiment. The pure catch-and-shoot identity is gone. Spencer's playmaking is the new foundation. But here's what the red lines show, taken together. The structure is forming, the system has a shape. What it doesn't have yet is the firepower to turn that structure into wins. That's the honest portrait of this shooting guard group, building the right way. Not quite there yet. The small forward position absorbed the hardest blow of the entire rebuild. When Jaren Jackson Jr. left, the interior defensive wall didn't just weaken. It was torn out completely. The young wings left behind had one job: survive inside a broken system and find a way to contribute anyway. The red lines on this chart show exactly how brutal that ask really was. Jalen Wells played a full second season, every game, every minute of it. His overall score sits at 7-1-1, just below the bench threshold. And the line shape tells a classic sophomore story. Scoring ability nudged outward. Three-point shooting showed marginal improvement. Individual offensive growth is real. But opponents figured him out. Defensive numbers pulled below average. Assist numbers did the same. The line that was balanced last year is now uneven. Stretched in one direction, compressed in another. That's not failure. That's the second-year wall. It's uncomfortable. It's necessary. And then, Cedric Howard. His line is the most balanced, most expansive shape on this entire chart. Overall score, 781 points. He cleared the reliable starter threshold as a rookie. Scoring above average, rebounding above average, defense above average. No single spike, no glaring hole, just consistent production across the board. On a roster this depleted, that kind of well-rounded output is almost impossible to find. He became the defensive anchor this position desperately needed after Jackson Jr. walked out the door. Two lines crossing on the same chart, one bending under pressure, one expanding beyond expectations. That's the small forward story this season, and honestly, it might be the most hopeful corner of this entire rebuild. No position on this roster felt the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade more violently than power forward. Last season, his defensive ability line pushed into elite territory. Top 10. The chart expanded outward in every direction. He didn't just anchor the defense, he defined it. That line is gone now. What replaced it is something far more jagged. The new primary piece at this position is G.G. Jackson, 21 years old. Overall score of 744, clearing the bench threshold, establishing himself as a legitimate rotation piece. His scoring ability is the headline, pushing toward the top 50 boundary. He averaged 12 points and 5 rebounds on around 50% shooting. That finishing ability is genuine. At 21, that kind of efficiency is hard to teach. But his assist line completely collapsed toward center. Every other player on this roster bought into Iisalo's pass-first system, at least partially. G.G. Jackson runs straight at the basket and finishes. That's his game. Pure scorer, pure finisher. In a system built on ball movement, his line is the one outlier, and it's not subtle. Taylor Hendricks sits at 702 overall, below the bench threshold. His line stays above league average across most categories, but assist ability contracts inward, same pattern as Jackson. One area where Hendricks reaches toward the top 50, steal ability. There's real defensive instinct there. Active hands, good anticipation in the passing lanes. But the overall frame is still narrow, still developing. The position that once made the entire league uncomfortable on defense now runs on a 21-year-old finisher who won't pass, and a promising young defender who isn't ready to anchor anything yet. The price of the rebuild is written in these two red lines. The center position was supposed to be Memphis's foundation this season. It became their fatal weakness. Zach Edey's line is still on this chart, and it hurts to look at. 11 games, that's all he played, before ankle surgery ended everything. 11 games, and he averaged 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks on 63% shooting. His defensive ability score pushes to 861 points, well clear of the top 50 threshold. The shape of that line shows exactly what Memphis lost. This wasn't just a starter going down. This was the entire interior infrastructure collapsing in one moment. So who stepped into that void? Santi Aldama. And his red line tells a story of pure, unglamorous sacrifice. Overall score lands at exactly 780 points, right at the reliable starter threshold. Not at his natural position, not in his ideal role, but he showed up every night anyway. Rebounding above league average, defense above league average. No dominant spike like Edey, but nothing collapsing either. And offensively, he averaged 14 points with real playmaking ability. In Iisalo's pass-first system, Aldama was the big man who could actually make the reads. That's not easy to find, especially not from someone playing out of position. His backup was Olivier Maxence Prosper, overall score of 676, below the bench threshold. The professional wall is real for him, but his scoring ability reaches 720 points, cracking the top 50 boundary. He averaged 10 points on nearly 55% shooting. On this roster, that efficiency made him a genuine energy piece off the bench. 3 players, 3 different red lines, 1 holding the shape together, 1 providing bursts of scoring, and 1 ghost of a line reminding you what this position was supposed to look like. The paint didn't just struggle this season, it was surrendered, and these lines show exactly what that cost. Pull back from all of it, and here's what this season actually was. Year 1 of the rebuild, real year 1, not the cleaned up version, the raw, painful, unglamorous version where the roster gets stripped, the new coach plants his system, and everything hurts before anything works. Morant played 20 games, Edey played 11, the final standings landed below where anyone projected. Compared to the polished rosters elsewhere in this league, yeah, Memphis looked like chaos. But don't let the rankings bury the real story. Cedric Coward proved he belongs at starter level as a rookie in one of the hardest environments in the league. Javon Small showed shooting, playmaking, and defensive instincts simultaneously. Cam Spencer's passing ability cracked the top 10. Ty Jerome, in 15 games, flashed a ceiling that changes the entire second unit next year. Santi Aldama held the center position together out of pure will. Gigi Jackson took a legitimate step as a scorer. The numbers fell, the foundation quietly formed underneath them. And then, May. Brandon Clark passed away, 29 years old. There are no analytics for that. No ranking captures what he meant to this organization, to this city. Memphis spent this entire season absorbing injury after injury. Losing Clark permanently goes beyond roster construction. It shakes the identity of the franchise itself. The front office now has to build forward carrying that weight. Here's what they're working with: a fully clean salary cap, the 3rd overall pick, and 12 first-round selections through 2032. That's not a rebuilding war chest. That's leverage to reshape the entire roster, to draft Cameron Boozer, to absorb a star trade, to do whatever the vision demands. But here's the question that determines whether any of it matters. Ja Morant and Iisalo, can they coexist? The data showed you what happened this season. Morant's scoring was suppressed, his assist rate spiked into the top 10. Iisalo built a disciplined half-court pass-first system, and Morant was made to fit inside it. Those are 2 fundamentally different basketball philosophies living in the same locker room. If they find a way to merge a healthy Morant running structure with real shooters and finishers around him, this team becomes dangerous fast. If they don't, local media in Memphis is already saying it out loud. Morant could become a trade chip this offseason. 12 picks, a top 3 selection, a clean cap, and the most important relationship in the building unresolved. So I want to hear from you. The data proved it. Morant was turned into a passer this season. Was that the right call? Do you build around his individual brilliance and surround him with the right pieces? Or do you commit to Iisalo's system, even if that means moving on from Morant entirely? Drop it in the comments. Every take is on the table. That's all for today's breakdown. If this analysis hit, or if you think we got it wrong, subscribe and let us know. We'll see you next time on the Daily NBA Talk.